Music is something we all have in common. So today, you'll get a portrait of a band. The Color 8 joins us on Equal Matters. That guitarist right there is Kal, the Guitar Hero. He's the guitarist with Color 8. He joined us a few episodes back. As the Color 8 now on tour, I got to catch up with him at a stop in Phoenix, Arizona. And I got to talk to him before their show and after their show. And you're going to get to hear clips of the actual live performance because it really tells the tale of this band. 4 friends came together, 4 different musical backgrounds, but love to play and love to bring people together. It's an absolutely unique and amazing group of guys who put on one hell of a live show. And I think what the story of the Color 8 truly is about going for it. Because each one of them loves to perform, loves to go on tour. So that love of music is what propels them to do it, because the touring life, as Kal told us a few episodes ago, is a grind. For example, after performing in Phoenix, they had the night to stay here, which is great because the Color 8 lives here. Then they spent the next day in a van for 16 hours, driving from Phoenix to Dallas to be there to perform the next night. So that's the type of life we discuss with the Color 8. You've heard of Kal. We also have Jerm, the bassist and singer. Wisco, drummer and singer. And then Ashton is the lyricist, but he also plays saxophone. So it's a very eclectic group of talented, skilled professionals that come together to play music, come together out of love, come together out of purpose, and how they work together as a team. So enjoy this episode of Equal Matters. A portrait of the band, the Color 8.
Y'all can hear me okay? Say yeah. Yeah. If y'all can hear me okay, say yeah. Beautiful. What's up, Mesa, Arizona? So we're gonna play some music and stuff. Y'all ready to get too turned? Okay, I was just making sure. That's the name of this next song, Two Turn. We're gonna need y'all to get rowdy. Can y'all get rowdy? I don't know. Can y'all get rowdy? Hey, bitch, I'm two turn. Bitch, I'm two turn. Bitch, I'm two turn.
So we got Jerm, we got Wisco 3, we got Kal the Guitar Hero here. Ashton is doing Ashton, right? He's doing Ashton. So, Jerm, let's start with you. I want to ask the motivation behind the grind of a tour. So you guys have already played San Diego. Yep. So you played San Diego, you drive to L.A. that day, play L.A., sleep, get in the van, come on back to Phoenix. So you have to love music in order to grind through that like that. So what compels you, Jerm, to keep going?
So I just like to play. I like to play in a new city every day. It's fun just to wake up and do like something new, and see something new, But I just like music.
Where did you get that love from that keeps you going? Because you're the bassist of the band. You do other things as well. But your background, your inspiration originally came from?
I grew up playing music. Both my parents are music directors, so I was forced to play. I was forced to play. It was like I played drums at first, and my dad's like, we need a bass player, so he handed me a bass for the family band, and then kept going. So
what is a bassist's role? Is it to keep the rhythm going?
Yeah, it's the combination between rhythmic and melodic. You're being the root, the root note of everything, holding everything together with the rhythm, but also playing along with the guitar player or piano player or whatever to make it, in sync, like it flows together and melts,
So that's interesting, because let's ask about your creative process. Because who comes up, do you guys do it differently? So obviously Kal's a guitarist, Wisco 3, you're the drummer, you also sing, and you drive the bass. Yeah. So is there like, all right, I got a bass line, let's work on it? Or is there a particular order to the way you guys do things?
Yeah, there's not any order. Like, we'll all come up with random ideas. I'll have a bass line or Kal will have a guitar part, and we'll just kind of go off that and then, work our way from the rest,
Say hi, Jerm. Hi, Jerm. Are you satisfied? No. Look, they said hi to you, so play something for them. Get it, Jerm.
go over to the drummer.
Yo.
Wisco 3 from Wisconsin.
Gang.
What's the 3 stand for?
So I'm actually the third. Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah,
okay.
so 3.
And I love this too because you guys all have different styles and different things that you bring to the band.
Yeah.
So what about you? What's your musical background?
So actually, I grew up in church, like literally all my life. Like my dad is a pastor now, like church has always been my life. I was like the typical little kid banging on pots and pans, 2 years old, and then my parents and my grandparents came together, got me a drum set when I was 5, and ever since then I was like just in love. So it just never stopped.
And the same thing I asked Jerm, that you guys are grinding,
Yeah.
getting out here, because every chance for you guys to play in a new crowd is a chance to win over some new fans.
Absolutely.
Get some more streams. You got the new EP out. So take me behind the scenes of that. So you guys knew you were going on the tour.
Yep.
You got the 4-song EP that just came out, Trying to Get Paid. And what was the process of putting that together like?
It was
First of all,
hectic.
what's an EP?
So an EP is just basically a shorter version of an album. So it's like usually like 3 to 6 tracks, I believe it is, like the technical or literal term. But the whole process, it was hectic. It was like constructed chaos. Like we knew we had a shit ton to do, or I'm sorry, I don't know if I can cuss, but we knew we had a lot to do. We knew we had a lot to do, and it was like we had minimal time. So we linked up with our homie Trey, and he's a producer, and so we just got in literally as much as we can, and it was just literally grinding. Like we all work, so like I would work my 9 to 5 from 8 to 5, and then go to the studio and be at the studio from like fucking 6 to midnight or 1 a.m. and keep the process going. So it's just a steady grind. You just gotta love it.
Okay, so is that what keeps you motivated to keep coming back, to work the full day, to work the next day in the studio, or the same day but the next job?
Honestly, what keeps me motivated is a few things, but I would say the biggest are I fucking love music. It's my passion. It's everything to me, but I want to live off of it. So the idea of being able to do this and live and be successful off of this, that's what keeps me motivated. But then also, too, a big push for me is like how we help our fans. And like when people come up to us, like in San Diego, we had a guy come up to us and was like, I passed a girl a drumstick, and he came up and he was like, hey, thanks for handing her that. Like she's going through a lot right now that really helped her. Like you don't know how much that meant to her. And I'm like, stuff like that is like what make it worth it. It's we able to help somebody just by doing what we love and it translating. Yeah, just that energy exchange.
Well, that's what I think is that commonality between music, and Jerm, chime in on this, Kal, you as well. For me, that first musical memory I have is Michael Jackson.
Ooh.
But it's the way it made me move, the way it made me feel, that I was
Yeah.
like, oh my goodness, this is absolutely amazing. And then that rhythm, that sound got me into hip hop music. And then when I met Kal and I learned about the Color 8 band, I'm like, okay, you take, obviously, you guys got a hip hop sound in certain songs.
Yeah.
You have Cal's heavy guitar, and you have a jazz background as well. You have a gospel background, and you guys bring all those elements together, which makes you guys unique. So when you explain what the Color 8 band is, what do you say to people?
So color is diversity, 8 is infinity, and so we play all different types of music to bring different people together. So that's really our whole mantra is like trying something new, introducing people. If you come to our shows, you'll literally see a middle-aged white woman, everything, like a middle-aged white woman, like anything, a black guy, a white guy, a fucking Mexican girl, a fucking Asian guy, like it's literally everything. Like it's a melting pot, and I think it's dope because you look at us, if you see us just walking down, like you'd be like, who the fuck is, who's that? But it translates to our show because literally at our shows, it's like, it's anybody, any and everybody can dig this, what we do.
So we're here at the Color 8 band show. They're about to start in a few minutes. What's your name?
Sean.
Sean?
Sean.
Sean has the Color 8 band shirt on that I have, which is an awesome shirt. So you're obviously a fan of the Color 8 band. You come out tonight. What do you love about the Color 8 band?
I love how their music is just so different because they have stuff like their slow stuff that they open with, but then they get heavy and they got a mix of everything, and it's just a vibe.
How did you discover the Color 8 band?
I went to this like pop-up show that my friends were performing at some like little warehouse type thing. Saw them there, and I've been a fan since.
What is your favorite songs, plural, the Color 8 band has?
I'd say their whole new EP is gas right now, but Galaxy, No Sleep, Savage Season, probably top 3.
Okay, this is a real fan here. Sean is a real fan. What is your name?
Angie.
Angie?
Angie.
Are you okay? Are you as big of a fan? I'll come back to you in a sec, Sean. Are you as big of a fan as Sean?
I can't lie and say I am, but I do love them. He's just a lot wilder with his obsession.
We're here early.
Here early, supporting the local talent.
Okay, Sean, so you are early. We're in Mesa. Where do you live? Because, I mean, the valley's pretty far, so you're Peoria, so you drove a good way. You Ubered a good way.
Spent 32 miles. Spent a good chunk of money to come out here, but it's worth it for him.
So what is that? That's a great point, because if I'm thinking I'm going to do a 32-mile Uber ride, two ways, the show better be worth it. So when you come to a Color 8 band show, and Angie, same question for you in a second, what does it feel like? What does it mean for you?
I mean, it just means family, because like them being from here and them starting small and then opening such a show like this, like I'm excited for them. Like them being on tour, on this whole tour, it's good for them. They're gonna pop off next year. I feel it. Like I'm just big excited.
Angie?
I'm proud of them. It's exhilarating. We found them about 2 years ago, and since then we've been to almost every show. So just really good to see them on to big things and going forward.
When you explain that, the people's ears perk up and say, what do you mean? Okay, so I grew up and I listened to rap music. And you're like, all right, we got something for you.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Exactly. I was going to say, you know.
Yeah, you know, it's like a mix of stuff. You know, I feel like our crowds, it's cool to come see the people at our crowds because, like, you'll see the hip-hop heads that are here to listen to hip-hop, and you see the metal heads that are here to hear the metal, and then, you know, everything else in between. And it's like the people that normally wouldn't mingle together get a chance to mingle together because all our music is a mix of all those things. And then by people, like the hip-hop heads there to hear the hip-hop, they get exposed to the metal stuff as well, and they see how metal fans act at a show, and then vice versa. And they end up maybe meeting people they never met before, thought they wouldn't get along with before, and then they end up liking music that they didn't realize they would have liked until they tried it. So like I feel like at our shows, people are like, oh, I didn't really like metal, but the way you guys presented it to me gave me, you know, got me into it. You know, and like we're kind of a gateway to new things, and that's what our whole the Color 8 is supposed to represent is like living life by doing new things and adapting and learning, because that's what life's about. You know, like not just labeling yourself and putting yourself in a box and that's the end of it. No, we're supposed to be evolving and changing. And that's why, like, artists through the years, like, their first album won't sound like their album in a decade, right? Because, like, they're supposed to evolve and change. And people get mad at that, like, oh, you should do your old stuff. But it's like, no, like, you know, we should be better than ourselves every day.
Yeah.
So, like, our music shouldn't sound the same from 10 years ago. So.
I like, Jay-Z has that line, and I think it's the Blueprint 3. He goes, you want my old shit, buy my old albums.
Oh, yeah.
That's his point. His point is, like, I'm moving on. You want to move with me? Cool. If not, you can stay back there. And I think that what you brought up, Kal, is music also has the ability to, like, broaden our perspective. So for me, like, growing up as a kid, Michael Jackson, a whole new sound than what I was used to. And then you start hearing songs from Marvin Gaye, like, you know, Make Me Want to Holler, and you're like, what is he talking about? So you're 9, 10 years old, and you're exposed to these new concepts that there's different people in the world who didn't grow up on the same street as you. How does music bring them all together?
I think music brings them all together because it's just universal, you know, like even if it's a song that's in a different language, you can still enjoy the song, you know, like you can hear a bird singing and you don't know what the bird's saying, but it sounds beautiful, right? And I think that's the real cool thing about music. I remember there was one time I went to my friend's house like in high school, and he had his uncle there that was staying at his house, and he only spoke Spanish. And I saw there was a classical guitar in there, and I'd learned classical guitar in high school. I was like, oh, let me play that. And I started playing it. And he goes and grabs another acoustic guitar, and he starts playing with me. We start playing this same song called Romance. It's a Spanish classical. And like he starts harmonizing with me, and like we're like laughing and like, oh, you're doing the harmony, and like I couldn't even talk to him, but we were like talking to each other with the music. And I thought that was really cool to know, like, I don't know how, like somebody I could never talk to or communicate to, we were able to like have a moment, and I thought that was cool.
And that is cool. And I think that that's the essence, right? What you guys do, what this podcast really is about, is trying to bring people together with different perspectives, with different ideas. Because I have a certain way that I live. I have a certain set of standards and rules that I have for myself. But you guys each have individual standards that you set for yourself. And who's to say I'm right and you're wrong? Why don't we all just be right? And as long as we're living in accordance to who we are and trying our best not to hurt other people, let's come listen to music and hang out. And I think that is really that commonality where you might be able to come here to a Color 8 show and, like you said, Kal, have a conversation with someone you wouldn't expect to. Like, oh, I'm a metalhead, and I just had this conversation with a hip-hopper. Yeah. And it turns out we both like X, Y, and Z, or we both think the same way politically, or who knows.
Yeah. So I'm just happy to have that, create that space for people like that, you know, like even just like with like our more like aggressive music. Like some people came up to us and said like, man, like you guys just give me a place to just like get it out. Because for people, mosh pit is a place just to get that anxiety out, get that energy out. You know, like if you had a rough day at work, you go in the mosh pit and get it out. And it's not like trying to be on like some vindictive stuff, like hurting somebody there. It's just about just pushing each other like, you know, you had a bad day, I had a bad day too. Let's just get it out. And so I like being able to create that space for people.
All right, so I'm gonna go down the line here. Go back to you, Jerm, and we'll just run down. So when you see a mosh pit at your show, the music that you guys are playing when you're on stage, what does that feel like? What does that look like for you guys?
Oh, it's fun. One time my mom got knocked out in a mosh pit, so she was holding the camera up. She's like, "Oh, my boy," and like looking up, and then just someone came in and just clocked her, and I didn't see it. And someone's like, "Do you see that lady get knocked out?" I was like, "No." I was like, "Oh, that's my mom." So you know, there's a little.
She okay? She's okay.
She was okay. She was like, I don't know what happened, but it was fun. So she enjoyed it, which is a surprise. But you know,
but I mean, love that. Your mom is supporting you, literally standing right next to the mosh pit. It just so happens that she got hit. But I love mosh pits because they're a lot friendlier than you think.
Oh yeah.
So Wisco, you're up on stage playing your drums, singing. There's a mosh pit. What are you thinking while you're up there?
At that point, it's like rage, like in the best way possible.
Healthy rage.
Yeah, healthy rage. Like it's like the best way I can explain it is like imagine like a ball of energy, but like it feel like a ball of energy in my chest, and I can't get it out, but I just keep going type shit. Like that's the best way I can explain it. It sounds weird, but yeah, it's just a build up. I just feel that shit, and I go crazy. I kind of black out and just get into it more.
See, I'll quote. My favorite artist is Andre 3000, who's you know got a different weapon that never runs out of ammunition, so I'm ready for today. But he also has another one where he's like, found a way to channel my anger, right? So he uses his music to channel his anger instead of smashing things or whatever.
Yep.
So you're feeling that same way. You're up there with the drums.
Especially with the drums.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a stress relief because I literally am getting that energy out every drum I hit. You feel me? I'm transferring that energy into the drum. So.
Kal, you're the guitarist, so mosh pit's happening, vibing to your guitar. What are you thinking?
Man, it's like sometimes I kind of forget where I'm at. You know, like when I start really getting into the moment, I'm just looking at them. Sometimes my eyes are closed for a minute, and it's like I'm just jamming out. Like it could be like one person in the crowd watching this, and I'm still gonna be having a good time, you know. But like having the crowd there just enhances like what I'm already feeling. Because when I see people and I look at their face, or I see them vibing with me, and they're making that same face I'm making, I'm like, cool. What I'm feeling, they're feeling that same. Me playing the music, they're feeling the same thing just listening to it. And you know, music makes me feel good to play it. So if I can make someone feel just as good just by listening to it, I feel like that's dope, making the world a little bit better. You know, one show at a time. So
it's funny. I just said to a friend today, I said the world needs more good right now.
Yeah.
You know, there's war going on. There's this. There's that. It's like, man, we need to. Those of us not making those decisions to go to war need to really come together and, you know, be together, I think, in these crazy times.
Yeah, I think if we were all just playing music or listening to music together, I don't think we would have a reason to be mad at each other.
That's probably true. That's probably true. So is it the same that with these guys talk about in your channeling? So if you have a certain feeling, like if you're practicing or you're coming up with a new song, do you feel it as you play it? Or for you, is it based on Kal music knowledge, or is it just everything all mixed together?
No, I think a lot of the stuff we do is just feel. Like we improvise our sets a lot of the times. A lot of times we don't even have an idea what song we're gonna do. We're just like, let's do this one and see how the crowd reacts, and we'll adapt to it. And I feel like being able to be adaptive to moments and stuff is like crucial to like surviving, right? That's how animals survive. They either adapt or, you know, evolve or die, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like being able to always test yourself by improvising and just putting yourself on the spot really helps us grow a lot more than just doing something that's completely rehearsed, completely scripted, and it's just like, and you just do it over and over. I feel like it doesn't feel as genuine compared to if we do it that way. It's a surprise to us and a surprise to the fans. So it's like we both don't know what we're about to get, and it makes it more genuine. So
Life's all about putting yourself in new situations and evolving and growing. And like, if you don't do that, then you don't grow and you don't evolve, and then you just die. So that's what we try to do, live every moment. So we're about to change it up. We go based off of y'all, so I think y'all ready for no sleep.
Y'all better make some fucking noise for Kal the Guitar Hero. Woo!
there too. You guys are, you're improvising, as not only a lyricist but a saxophonist.
Yes.
So you got the multiple skills too, as your entire band does, right? How do you roll with the adaptation? Like, is that just something the way you guys train, the way you guys practice, or just do what you know?
So, the way that we work usually is, like when we're at rehearsal, we'll have certain things that are scripted, but then also other things, like we'll just take a moment just to jam things out, just to feel it out. Maybe we'll extend the song longer. Maybe we'll change from this song to this song, or maybe somebody will accidentally play a note and we're like, wait, play it again, or whatever. And it's like, so that translates to when we're on stage, because that's when we feel we're our most natural. It's raw, it's real, it's expression. We're not trying to create something to be a certain way. We are just trying to create. That's all.
And let it be what it is.
Exactly.
Yeah. So how do you get in that comfortable space where you feel confident to do that? Because I imagine a lot of bands approach it the exact other way, where everything is according to plan.
So, in my opinion, I think stepping into any space with a mindset not only of gratitude but of vulnerability, like really putting yourself in a space where like you're choosing to be open to whatever can happen. Because once you choose to be open to whatever can happen, then anything literally can happen. And because we do that together when we're like rehearsing or when we're playing on stage or whatever, we are really vulnerable with each other. And we create that safe space for ourselves and for the one next to us. And in doing so, it allows us to just feel more comfortable, because now I'm like, hey, I'm just playing whatever, we'll see how it comes out. And then we might have some critiques on what can make it sound better, or we might have some praise to give to each other or whatever. But either way, we're still commending each other for like just being open. You know what I mean? So I guess that's it.
No, and I love that too, because music is an option for us to be vulnerable.
Yes.
In a I guess we'll call it a safe space, for lack of a better term.
Right.
Because the way that vulnerability is looked at to me, Ashton, is like a bad thing. And I'm like, no. It actually is a good thing. It's a strong thing. It's a strength thing. Whereas if you can admit your own life story, your own experiences, some of the things maybe you're not happy that you did or decided or happened to you, but you live with and you experience and you bring that out, this is a good place for everybody to do that, right? Because I remember, again, I was raised on hip-hop, so I was depressed as a kid, diagnosed twice. Tupac resonated with me because he put into words what I couldn't. And I think that you guys do the same thing. So when you're approaching your lyricism, is that what goes through your mind? Like, what is your approach like?
So when it comes to lyricism, I'm just like, I like the technical to figure out how to make something that sounds good, but the message behind it is always just me, just what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling, and what I feel inspired by, whether it's internal or external or whatever, and I just let the ideas come, and then, so the ideas are always just flowy, they're just like or whatever, like scratch paper, just like whatever.
Like
just
Eminem and 8 Mile.
Yeah, essentially. This is like, this is wherever. This is everywhere, right? Whether I'm writing in my phone or I'm thinking of it in my head and whatever. And then once I get the ideas down, as far as like they're just there, then I'll start to intricately like place them in different words that I know it can convey that feeling that I had. The feeling that I'm trying to convey. And then after I do that, I think and feel freely, and then I apply it intricately. And that's how I come up with what I'm going to say.
You also have a knack for speeding up your raps, too.
Yeah.
So how do you practice that? Is it just over and over again? Because like Savage Season, for example, you kind of rip through a bunch of lines real fast.
Actually, it's kind of funny how that started. So when I was a kid, if I'd be at home, my mom come home, and she's like, if something was wrong or so, she's like, what the heck happened? And I'm like, and I'm trying to get my words together. But if it was not concise right there in the moment, she's like, I don't want to hear it. Go to your room. So I taught myself. I taught myself how to make sure I get it all out how I need to. Because I naturally tend to mumble, but I had to learn how to make sure I'm not. So the next time that she came back, and she came home, something happened, and she's like, what's going on? Talk to me. And I'm like, blah, 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 blah. And she's like, okay, what? And I'm like, okay, now I have time to talk about it. So look, this is what happened, but I had to, I didn't want to get in trouble. So that's really how I started learning how to really speak concisely, intricately, and quickly.
How about that?
And I apply that to what I'm rapping.
Ashton, Sean, gotta be going a little bit harder than anybody else trying to get up on the mic though. It's that season again, we have to start right though. Yeah. But there's no need to pretend you're gonna try though. You're doing it, you like that. You should have been listening to what seems to be, and
lower energy. Talking about my toes, I'm gonna get it on a time. No six on the nitro. Hey, because to be the king to this shit, coming way back alive. Because I'm coming with your eyes closed. These sleeping
Now tell me about the saxophone, because normally you don't hear people that have saxophone skills and can write rhymes.
I see. Yeah, there's it's kind of rare. There's people that have it, but I do really appreciate you even acknowledging that. So thank you. Saxophone, I got into that by accident. I was a really sick kid, so I missed the first few days of school because of my asthma. I got there on the third or fourth day. There were no electives left. It was like 6th grade, and they just threw me in band, handed me a clarinet, and I was also kind of like I got good at it, you know, and they moved me up, and then the next semester they gave me a saxophone, and I was like, okay, I'm just doing it.
Yeah.
You know, I had no idea I was going to actually get serious about music. I'm 10, you know, so. But yeah, that's how that started, and I just, you know, I quit once when I was an adult, and I got back into it about 8 years ago, and I met them like a year later.
But that's how it is. We're opening, you know, we're doing everything ourselves. We're driving ourselves. We're running our own merch ourselves, which we do got merch over there. So at the end of the show, they have to come over there. But we're doing everything ourselves, and it's cool. We love it. We love doing this. It's worth it, you know. And
So you guys have been together since 2015 as the Color 8.
Yeah.
So that, you know, working with 4 different personalities, that can be challenging. So how do you guys communicate, especially through disagreements, Cal?
Man, well, I feel like a lot of it's very like democratic, where we kind of come to a majority vote on things. So, you know, like if we're in the studio, we're writing something, someone has a part, you know, like, should we add it? You know, and if everybody's like, oh yeah, you know, sometimes it's anonymous, like, oh yeah, we all like, okay, let's do it. And then sometimes, you know, some of us might be like, I don't know, maybe not, you know. If it's ever like split down the middle, I don't know what we really do. Yeah, we'll get an outside source to give us an opinion on it, and we'll do it. But we try to make sure it's real important when you're in a group of people. You have to accommodate, or no, that's another word. What's the word like? You have to like
adapt, right, to everybody's style, and you got to learn what makes each other tick and pisses each other off.
Yeah, you have to sacrifice. Compromise. That's a fucking word with a C.
Yep.
You got to compromise, you know, some of your things, right? You know, if I have a preference on something like, oh, well, I like to have, you know, obviously I like to play the guitar. I like doing the guitar solo, but it doesn't necessarily mean every song calls for a guitar solo. And I understand that, and I don't feel a certain type of way if the band decides like, maybe let's no guitar solo on this song, because whatever. I'm all for. We are all for what's best for the song and for the band. So I'm cool with whatever's good for the song and the sake of what we're trying to convey with that song.
Love it. So Wisco, do you agree with Cal as far as how important the communication is, and make sure that you guys do have a plan for when you do disagree, that it doesn't become like, the band's breaking up, the band's out. Yeah.
No, absolutely. It takes a lot of self-control. Like, it takes a lot of discipline. And I can say that, like, we've all, well, I'll speak for myself. I know I've definitely grown, like, just dealing with these guys.
But you guys spend a lot of time together. I mean,
yeah,
not only you're on the road right now, spending almost every minute together.
Yeah.
You're in the studio together. You know, you're hanging out together. You're practicing together.
I see them more than my family, so it's like, like literally. But yeah, it's just really like learning, like Cal said, it's compromising, like understanding, like you gotta learn to control your anger. Like, I used to be like very quick to lash out, or like if I wasn't rocking with something, I'd be very quick to let everybody know. But after time, like I've learned like more now. Like, okay, you don't lash out. It's okay that you're upset, but explain to them why you're upset before you. So it's like you know what I'm saying? So you just you learn and grow, and that's really how it is. Like, just like Cal said, democracy. You gotta sacrifice sometimes. It's a lot of
for the greater good, right?
Yeah.
So how do you receive feedback from your bandmates? Like, is there a way that they tell you, like, hey man, you need to sharpen this up, or try this, or?
I mean, I personally feel like I'm good with constructive criticism, only because I give a lot of constructive criticism. Like,
that's good. Give and
say,
receive.
Yeah, I'm very opinionated. And so, like, when we come, or particularly, like, so when it comes to, like, our EPs and stuff, like, if I don't think something is it, I'll say it, and it's not because, like, you trash. It's like, I think you better than that, so, like, do something else, like, redo that. So, like, yeah, I'm pretty straightforward.
Yeah. I love it. So, Jerm, Wisco says that to you. He says, we need to do better. come on, bassist, let's go.
I've heard it before.
Yeah. But that's all part of it, right? It's part of working as a
part of it,
team. Is you got to figure out
I think
how to do it.
Yeah, individually, we all need to be held accountable, and how we act individually really correlates how we individually act as a band. Like if one person is slacking and doesn't do something that they need to be doing, then everyone else suffers because of it. And I think we're democratic enough to be like, hey, this, if this is a problem, we're going to talk about it. But
I know it's always one of those things, right? To go
Yeah.
back to the commonality and the community all have the same base words, right? Which I just looked up the other day in Latin, the same.
yeah,
And you guys approach the Color 8 band, the whole purpose behind it is that we are all at a base level, all of us humans, whatever we look like, where we come from, are the same. So let's jam out and play some music.
exactly. Yeah.
So tell me about the new EP, Trying to Get Paid. 4 songs.
4 songs.
I listened to it 4 times today, prepping for the interview. And I think the quality, I think, is real good. So obviously that was something you guys focused on because you want to put out studio quality stuff so people are like, oh, hell yeah. We're not slacking. We're evolving as a band. So take me behind the scenes on that, Jerm, as far as putting the work together to make sure it met you guys' standards.
Well, we did one song at a time where it was let's sit down, finish this song to completion, and then once it was pretty much done, then we moved on to the next thing. And that was everyone's parts, getting the guitars down, getting all the drums down, and then putting the vocals on top, and then being like, okay, this could be different. We could add this after, and then finishing it, and then moving on to the next thing. Because it was, if we didn't finish one thing, we were going to get distracted on the next one, and be and then we would never come back. And once we finish something, we got to finish it.
What was the main theme that you guys were going for with the EP? And that could be just make some dope ass music.
It was just let's just make some music, and I think all the songs there's some funny songs, there's some more serious love songs, hyperbole, there's one, Narcotics is the first one I sang on an actual track, so
Yeah.
so that'll be fun. We might play it tonight,
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yes. Are you guys working the new songs into the sets on this tour?
We've been trying to.
Yeah. So which songs are feeling good for you out there? The new songs.
I'm really excited to do. We got a song called "Shin Me." I'm super excited to do that one because I just want to see how the crowd gonna react. It's a fun song. It's more comedic and funny, but the riffs and the music is still heavy and hard, enough for you to mosh and go crazy to. And we got a crazy breakdown in there, so that's gonna be real fun to hear. And I'll get to rap. This will be my first time. It'll be my first time rapping and playing. So I've sang and played, but I never rapped and played. So
Okay.
that'll be interesting.
So I see drummers do that.
Yeah.
Like Phil Collins. You're how do you play the drums using both hands, both feet, and still sing or rap?
Years and years and years of failure. No, seriously. It's funny. I remember being 12 years old, drumming in our church and having to sing a song and play, and I couldn't sing without. I couldn't get the coordination. But after you do it for so long, eventually it just gets to a point and you don't even realize, and you just one day, oh shit, I just sang that whole verse and played that. Oh, okay, I can sing and play now. But yeah, just practice going at it.
That's Wisco on the drum. Y'all want to hear him sing?
Getting a zone up on stage?
Oh yeah.
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 Is that similar
I'm
to all
out
you
of there.
guys? It's just a zone place, it's go time,
Yeah.
performance time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Love it. So Cal, new songs. What are you looking forward to playing? Because how do you as a band, when you have to play some of your songs that you've played for 6-7 years, how do you stay excited about playing those old songs while mixing in the new ones?
Man, sometimes eventually, we just cycle out an old song. We're just okay, we're kind of done with hearing this one. But then there's some that are just kind of timeless to us, where we just always vibe with it. And I think the big thing is obviously some songs just we would never really just play on our own, just like at a practice or something, because it's like we got it down so good. But like playing it live in front of an audience, I think is what keeps our older songs alive. Because seeing people so engaged with them, like one of our most popular songs and older songs, Savage Season, everybody is just so enthusiastic with that song, and like the energy with that song, it just like keeps it alive, even though it's, you know, one of our older songs. Like we would have technically, based off how old it is, we would have cycled it out by now. But it's just such a crowd pleaser, you know. It's fun to play. Like we actually enjoy playing it. So I think the crowd has a lot to do with keeping songs fresh.
You guys, well, Kal knows I'm a huge Outkast fan. So again, I mentioned Art of the 3000, but I remember what he said about being an artist, and as he got older, when they were touring in 2014, so they've been a band for, I think, since 94 technically, 92 technically. So he's like, I didn't want to perform the same songs I wrote when I was 17. So for him as an artist, he thinks about it a certain way, but not everybody does, because the Rolling Stones still play, you know, Brown Sugar wherever they go or whatever.
That shit.
Yeah,
been out.
That sounds like 55 years old, still playing it. You know?
Yeah.
But I guess it's just a mindset thing, and if you guys are there and you're feeding off the energy of the crowd, that gives you purpose, is what it sounds like.
Yeah, and also goes back to what I was saying, how we improvise a lot of things. So sometimes we never play one song the same every show, you know. Like, so if we do play Savage, sometimes like, hey, sometimes we just do it in the moment. We never even agree to it. Sometimes we just extend it. Like I just start doing something. Yeah, like we just kind of look at each other. I'm like, I just might keep playing, and then everybody picks up on it. Okay, he's gonna keep playing. Let's keep playing. Or he just changed the riff. He's supposed to do something different on the end. Oh, he's slowing it down. You know, like a lot of it, like I think that's really what keeps it alive too, the improvisation of it, because we could do something different with it every time, and it makes it a new song.
Ashton, you guys are traveling together, so you're with each other all the time. How do you manage that? How do you hang with these guys like 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for the next month plus 5 weeks?
And not everybody can do something like this, do music and travel and be around a bunch of grown, smelly, handsome men. Whoa.
Funny. So of the group, I'm the most likely to isolate myself. But I think it did used to cause a lot of butting heads and stuff like that too. But when we were on tour earlier this year, I feel like we started to find a better balance, and we were all of us, we were trying to like be more listening to what the other person's perspective is more, so that way we can try to understand each other better. And it actually got to a point where, because, you know, I'm really introverted. I like to be to myself a lot, but I also understand that we're on this tour together, and we have to do things together all the time. And with that, I know I'm going to try to do my best to like put an effort to do things collectively with us. But also I noticed, and I pointed out last time, that they also tried to give me space to have my moments of isolation too. And it's something that like, it just brings in cyclic gratitude amongst all of us. So it makes it a lot more easy to flow with, because it is 4 different personalities. And I mean, and then on top of that, like, on top of just the personalities, it's also like we live differently. Our daily behaviors are different, you know. But I think because if we all come into this in a space of like, I guess, I'll say surrender into whatever it is that the other person might be feeling, so that way we can be more compassionate and more understanding, and it makes it a lot easier.
And that's really what the essence of the music is about, isn't it? Is that same vibe that you guys have with each other is the same vibe that you guys put out when we're going to watch you in an hour or so.
Exactly. So we try to make sure we're like good. If we have disagreements, we try to like talk it through, or if we need a moment to cool down, we'll try to give each other that moment, and then we'll talk about it, and then we'll try to, if apologies need to be said, we'll say them, and we'll just try to make sure we're good when we get back on stage.
That's why my wife and I, we, like me in particular, if I get angry, I'm like, I just need to walk away for a little while, and I'm going to chill out a little bit, and I'm going to come back and be able to talk through it. Because that's what I found is so incredibly helpful, that communication in any relationship, right? I worked with one of my best friends for 3.5 years every day on the same job. And the relationship changes a little bit when you're a coworker and a friend, and the band is work, right? I mean, how we define work, because you guys put hours and you put time into it. So that communication sounds like it's on point. And if it's not, how do you guys recalibrate? Like, do you have a procedure after 8 years together?
So literally, like we'll if we have something that's going on, we'll literally sit down and like try to talk about it. And if it's amongst all of us, then we'll all just try to talk about it. If it's between 3 of us or 2 of us, then the other ones might be the mediator for it, or whatever it is, or maybe they'll just give us a space where we can talk about it ourselves or whatever. And we'll try to give our perspective to, because what happens with any of us, we all pretty much know what is going on as far as when it's in between any of us. So we'll try to, I noticed that we try to get perspective from other people, or we'll vent it out to another person in the band or whatever, or maybe we'll just take our time to do whatever we need to individually, and then we'll try to approach it in a space of like being willing to, like, in a space of listening as opposed to a space of trying to say what I'm trying to say. You know what I mean?
Totally do.
So, yeah.
So this, for you guys, is it about purpose? And I'll go down the line again, because it sounds to me, and I think this is important for a team, is to have a united purpose, so that at the end of it, no matter the disagreement, it always comes down to what the Color 8 stands for.
Yeah.
Ashton, you agree with that?
I do. I just, for my own words, I think unity is like, at our essence, at our core, it's really about that unity, that oneness, that totality, that we bring in everybody together to remind them that we actually aren't separate.
Agree. So Kal, what advice would you have in working with this team to other bands, other teams that work together, that have to know each other well, to be able to find that space where you can be yourself and be accepted by your other bandmates?
Being able to find a good middle ground and compromise. I think that's a big thing in a group, because, like, you know, if you have a certain preference, like it comes down to anything more past the music. Like, if we're in a hotel and if Emmett likes it super cold, like 60 degrees, and I don't like it that cold, I like it more like a 77. Let's meet in the middle instead of, because I've seen some people on other tours where the person will just be like, no, I want it on 60, and it's going to be on 60. And it's just kind of, you can't do that. Like, I get it, like, because some people can knock it off and be like, well, that's my preference, and that's my self-love thing or something. You know, like, people, like, want to be, but at what point does, like, the self-love just become selfish? And it's like, when you're in a group, you can't be completely selfish and have your self-love. You have to have a meet in the middle ground when you're in a group. With any group, in any relationship, you have to kind of have a common ground, compromise thing. So I feel like if you're able to just compromise and meet in the middle with things, if you don't see eye to eye on it, if you can at least compromise and meet in the middle, it's at least fair ground on both sides.
Yeah, and that
Purely.
obviously works for you guys. 8 years, still performing together, still traveling together. So what do you guys do for fun when you're on the road? Because it can't just be go perform, drive, that's it.
I mean, a lot of it.
That's most of it.
Yeah, that's most of it. But, like, when we're if we have some off time, we'll try to go see stuff. Like, when we were on tour in December, we were in Seattle, and we had some time, and we went to the Pop Culture Museum in Seattle.
Nice.
Yeah, we saw the Space Needle. We went on top of there. So we try to make a little vacation out of it when we can. But besides that, like, when we're in the van driving long hours, maybe we'll put on instrumentals and start freestyling.
Nice.
Or we just start making fun of each other. Or whenever there's one thing we do, mostly we make fun of each other. Or whenever. Yeah, or blame Jeremy for everything. That's real fun to do. Like, it's Jeremy's fault somehow. Like,
every time a flag in the band, Jeremy.
Yeah. Or there's this fun thing we do, like, if we see signs or any signs, we just flip the first letter of each thing. So if it says, like, Burger King, we call it Burger or Kurger Bing or something like that. Like, we'll do stuff like that.
Yeah. So we did a road trip, my brother who's here with us and my father, because he moved out to Arizona. We did the license plate game. We were trying to find every license plate that we could because you're trying to pass the time. We didn't see Wyoming or Hawaii. Those are the only two.
That's the only two.
Yeah, so we made it okay. But you're traveling out. So what, for you, Wisco, is traveling with your band? Like, how does that broaden your own perspective?
I would say, like, honestly, like, it's a song that I will quote, and it's like, everybody with me, family, that's how we rock. And that's really how it is. Like, regardless, for me, like, if we left together, if we went together, like, you and me, I'm with you, you got me, I got you, like, whatever happened, like, regardless of disagreements, regardless of how I feel, like, we could be beefing right now, but if somebody come at you, like, then I'm going to be right there, you feel me?
Boys, yeah.
And not that, like, we expecting anybody to be on something violent or anything, but just in any sense.
Yeah, you ride together.
Yeah, in the general terms. So,
Push
like,
comes to shove.
Yeah, at the end of the day, we all are still a team, and, like, even when somebody is the weakest link, we still got to come together to keep the brand strong.
Because you're probably at each point, right? You're all
everybody.
You know,
everybody
I was the weak
go
link
through
at some points.
Exactly.
You know, whatever.
Exactly. We've all been there, and it's just a matter of, like, we have to keep going. Like, the show must go on. Like, everybody not gonna be able to make a show. The show got to go on. Like, we still got to finish it, or, like, whatever the situation is. Like, we got to make sure that this brand, this I mean, the Color 8 is a brand in the business. Like, so at the end of the day, it's passion, but we still got to keep that running.
Exactly. All right, Jerm, we start with you. We're going to end with you.
Like guitar, playing like keys, playing like bass lines, all night no sleep, all night no sleep.
What does it mean to be in a band with these guys? That you get to perform and do what you guys love on a tour. That's something that if you dreamed of being a musician, this is what the dream would be. It's like playing in the World Series.
Yeah, no, like I play with a lot of people, and like these guys are the best guys I've ever played with. Like, because we actually listen to each other. We're not just playing for our own self, you know. Chemistry. We have a chemistry. We like to jam. We like to hear what each other has to offer, not just what we can bring to the table, you know. Like, because I know that I can play, but I can always be better, and I think that's what we try to encourage each other to do is. We're good, but we can always be better together.
So what is it about a live music show that is so appealing?
It's the only time you can actually hear the band with no studio effects. It's the band at their most pure, and I think that's why I like it.
So, Jerm, we seem to start with you every time. So
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Post-show, how do you guys feel? You did live. You performed for 40 minutes. What's the feeling after you guys get off stage, like today, Mesa, Arizona?
It was fun, you know. It's nice to be in the hometown, you know, just to have like people come out just to see us and, you know, jam out and listen to our songs and actually sing our songs along with us. And yeah, it was fun, you know. I'm tired after that, but you know. It's
Well,
good.
that's another good question. Like, how much is it to perform like that when you take it out? Because you have this focus, you have this drive. And when you're done, it's like this come down because you're up high.
Yeah, you know, you can definitely feel it in the body. You know, it's a high, like you're just going off on adrenaline, and you're just going, and then you come down, and then the body starts to recuperate. You know.
Yeah, reality sets back in.
Exactly.
So for you guys now, what's next? So this is the third stop. There's many more stops to go.
Yeah, we got a day off tomorrow, and then we're going to Dallas and hitting 3 other spots in Texas. And then we're off to the East Coast after that.
Love it. So what are you guys looking forward to? Ashton, you got other dates coming up. What are you looking forward to?
Let's see. I'm definitely looking forward to being exposed to like people that have never heard of us, because that kind of lets us know if we really got it or if we just like people just hyping us up. You know what I mean? So when you're in front of people who nobody there knows you, then like you are they're gonna tell you if you're good or not, and by the way they tell you is by how they respond to you. And I'm excited to be like. Just to be in front of new people and like show our message, trying to express our message of like unity and coming together and stuff like that, and see how they take it on the East Coast and Canada and the Northwest, whatever.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
You almost, I don't want to say become a different person, but you become like this performer, right? You mentioned you're being an introvert before. On stage, you don't appear to be an introvert at all. It seems like Ashton is big, tall, comes alive.
Yeah, it's so being an introvert doesn't mean that I don't enjoy the out spaces. It just means like I recharge by getting away from that too. You know what I mean? But no, when I'm on stage, that's still like it's not even a mask. It's still me. Like it's just another facet of me that I'm not gonna do that in my room. You know what I mean? So
Why not? You sit in front of the mirror, just
right. Unless I'm practicing.
Yeah.
So you know. But other than that, yeah. So
love it. So how did you feel the show went?
The show, it was great. We had some challenges for a minute, technical difficulties, but that is what we were talking about earlier. We just switch it up, make it happen, because we know how to do a live show without any tracks at all. So we were ready. We were hoping to do those songs a certain way, but without it, we know what we're doing, you know. So I feel it went really well.
Love it. Okay. You're up.
Yeah.
Playing the drums in the back, singing. You got your rap on stage. How did that feel for you, Wisco?
It was super dope. Rapping, I usually do like this little spiel about how like I used to always want to be a rapper and would rap at home and all this crap. but no, it felt great. I love like being able to come off the drums and have that diversity in our set of playing live, but also getting up and being like a front man, quote unquote.
Yeah. What do you guys learn from each performance to apply to, say, Dallas and a couple other stops in Texas? Do you learn on the way and adapt?
Oh yeah. You learn a ton of stuff. Like we learn what songs work and what don't work. Like throughout shows, like we'll play a song and we might be like, oh no, that wasn't it. Let's take that out the set. Or sometimes like we played a song last night, we was like, oh no, we need that in the set for the rest of the tour. So like, it helps us there. We learn lessons like don't be late for a sound check. You know, that's very important. So we won't ever be late to a sound check ever again if I have anything to do with it. But yeah, you learn something new every show. You can take something from it. Every single show is something that you can pick up and use to your advantage for the next show.
Love that. So let's go to Kal. Let's ask that question. Is there anything you're listening to that you took away from this show that you're definitely going to apply?
I don't know what I learned from this show.
It's fresh. It was like you just got off stage like 15 minutes ago.
I feel like we did what we do usually. You know, we engage with the crowd, we try a song, and we see how they react to that song, and based off of that, we just determine what we're gonna do for the next song. So we started. What did we start with? We started with we did Two Turn. Yeah, it was a different energy. It was technical issues. So we're like, let's switch it up, and we went to what do we do after something soft? Right? We went Galaxy. Oh no, we went Whoa because we needed to keep the energy up. So we're like, let's keep the energy up and like not worry about the tracks. So we went to Whoa, and I feel like that kind of got our mojo back. We're like, okay, and they were vibing with that. We're like, let's see what a soft song feels like, and we hit them with Galaxy, an instrumental song, and it's like very instrumental, it's very open. People can just kind of chill and listen.
Funky.
Yeah, yeah.
Bass line, brah.
Woo! Yeah, he be getting it, and then and we get heavy again, and it's just like we try to give people, you know, parts in the set to like, you know, chill and just listen and then move and be energetic, you know. We want to try to tell a story with the set, you know. So I feel like if I learn anything from this is like, how can we better tell a story with our whole set list? If we get 6 songs, how do we make it like a movie where a movie it starts and then there, you know, it goes up and then there's the plot development and there's the climax, maybe a plot twist, you know, do a song that changes up and then you go back down and stuff. So I want it to be like that, tell the whole thing.
So what is it like when you're up there and the crowd responds the way that it did? So you start, we have the technical difficulties, but it seemed to me like a progression being in the crowd that there was probably maybe half that didn't know you guys, right? But now they know you, so by the end of it, there were way more people that were involved. So that's got to be a pretty great feeling being on stage.
Yeah, that means, okay, we're winning people over. Like, opening is not for everybody, and we tell people this a lot because, like, I've seen, like, people, like, sometimes people blow up on the internet, TikTok, right? And then they start doing shows, and their shows are already, like, people, they're already their fans. Like, they'll do headlining shows, that's all their fans. And it's easy to do that because they're all your fans, but when you come and you got to win a crowd over that has completely no idea who you are, it's a different animal. So the fact that, yeah, I do notice that at the beginning of the show, it's like you see the people who came to see us and everyone else is just kind of like, all right, you know, let's get on with the opener so we can see who we want to see. And by the end of the night, I see more heads moving, more mouths moving, more hands engaging. By the end, I'm like, okay, we want some more people. Even if we want one more fan at the show, like that shit's a win.
Yeah. So I'll ask you each a final question. Kal, I'll ask you, what would you want people to know most about the Color 8 band?
I want people to know most about the Color 8 is that we're always going to try new things and adapt to new things and get out of our comfort zone, and we're not scared to do nothing or try nothing. And we could hop on a jazz festival, we could hop on a metal festival, we could do anything and everybody can do anything, R&B, because, you know, the sky's the limit. You know, you don't have to I want people to know that the Color 8 is all about don't put yourself in a box. I feel like the world now is so about, like, labeling everything. Everything has a label, like, oh, I'm this, and, like, or I feel like this. It's like, or, like, oh, I have to be a rock band, or I'm a jazz band. Like, no, we're just a band that makes music. And I want people to know, like, you don't have to put yourself in a box and just do one thing, you know. Just like how you told me, you know, you're about to start a venture out and doing some other things. Like, you don't have to do one thing just because you've been doing it. Don't be complacent.
Yeah.
That's what I want people to take away from the Color 8.
Color 8 band, not complacent.
Yes.
Okay, so Wisco, traveling around with your guys, your band, for the next 5 weeks. What do you want to be the accomplishment when you guys are done in November, when you wrap up the tour?
Honestly, it's like Kal said, like, that's really the biggest goal is gaining new fans, like gaining that following. Like, that's what touring was. Like, nowadays everything is so digital that everybody think promo is paying $100 or $50 to get your song on the playlist, when, like, back in the day, like, real artists had to go around and physically go play shows, and that was how you pushed an album. That was how you grew your name around the world and became a household name. So that's my goal, like to gain as many fans as we possibly can every show. Still fans in the best way possible, you know. They obviously they still love whoever they came for, but now they're like, oh, who is the Color 8? I love them too now. So I tell everybody, like, we have a lot of people come up always and they're like, yeah, I never heard of you before the show. And I'm like, that's the best case scenario. And I'll tell people, like, even like, I hope at the end of the show, hopefully you know who we are. And
leave an impression.
Usually they do. They'll come up and say they'll remember. So
Absolutely.
It worked. But yeah, that's the goal.
I love it. Ashton, for you, is it about leaving that same impression? So you're up there, you know you have a chance. You know there's people that have never seen you before. How do you channel that and try to make that connection?
The best way to get people to be vulnerable with you is to first be vulnerable. So the way that I do it, I show myself fully, wholly. I'm here, I'm being vulnerable, we're creating art. We're like, and that is literally expression of, like, it comes from somewhere deep inside that we all have. And that thing that we all have is because it's the same source that it comes from. So I am intentionally showing you, like, hey, like, this is me, and you can be you. So be you with me, so we can just be together. That's how I see it.
And that's how I always see the Color 8 band, right? And that's what I love about you guys. Different sounds. Yeah. As Jerm is laughing, and again, we start and end with Jerm.
I can't help it.
But let's go back to the personality of the band, right? That you know, you guys gel together. You experience this life, this tour, this music together. So when you're looking at it as an experience, and I know your families were out here tonight. Many of you guys' families and significant others. That's that support that you guys have for each other, the support that you have out there with your families, but also the fans.
Yeah.
So what does that mean to you?
It's just, it's great because I think our families support what we do. Like, even if they don't support the language that we use,
Or trying to see if
my mom was here. She was like, I don't like the swear words, but it was really fun. It's good. They're all out here to support us, and that's a really cool feeling, just to be, loved in that way, just to just to do what we love and to have the support, the love back.
This is our last song. Y'all better turn the fuck up. Louder. Hands up. Hands up.